guys, it's Lindsay here with Pilates On Demand. Welcome to Stretching with Alignment Instructions. So this is going to be a nice long class, great for a day where you're just kind of tired, where you need a deep full body stretch, or maybe this is just a warm up or cool down for your day itself. So it's got a lot of uses. You could definitely do this multiple times a week. I'm actually gonna run you through what I usually do with my Tuesday, Thursday, 9 a.m. client. This is how we warm up pretty much every morning with those classes. It's all gonna be done on the floor, and I do use quite a bit of equipment for this, but don't be nervous about not being able to do this class if you don't have what looks like a yoga block or a yoga chair. So I want you to be creative and work with what you got. So I will walk you through the props I'm going to use today, and then I'll give you suggestions of what you can use in your house. And I promise you, if I don't have these props and I'm at a friend's house or on vacation, I will make something in their house a workout tool. So you can totally do that. Don't feel weird doing that at all. So today I've got 2 yoga blocks. If you do not have yoga blocks, you could use a book, a pillow, a blanket, and I'll instruct you kind of what to do with that in place of the blocks. I've got a yoga strap, really easy to replace with a long towel that you roll up, a blanket that you roll up, or even better would be a belt, or maybe your like robe strap that you tie, that works, or a piece of ribbon, just something you can pull against. I've got a blanket. This is good for kneeling to pad your knees like we are now. We will be kneeling a little bit, as well as sometimes sitting on to give you a little bit of height, so better positioning for the spine. And then a yoga chair, which also just looks like a chair that I'm hosting like a baby shower at, and we're eating at a table, and I rented this, but this is actually a real yoga chair. But again, you don't have to have this. You could use the blocks in replacement. You can use a dining room table chair. You can use your couch. You can use a countertop. So you can be creative with movements. Okay, guys, so that's kind of the spiel. We're going to be going through this full body stretching routine where I guide you through it with instructions. If you'd like to put music on your end, that's awesome. There are definitely going to be moments of silence because I do want us to really sit in the stretch and get a full release. And as much as this will be a little bit of static holding, I don't feel like you'll be bored because we're going to be really working our muscles actually in these positions. Okay guys, let's do this. So I'm gonna start seated down on the mat, sitting on this blanket to give myself a little bit of height for my lower back. If you have a hard time sitting on the floor, easy fix. Take a seat on a chair or on an edge of a couch, and you can do this all with me. So I'm gonna cross my legs. I'm sitting near the front of this blanket or block that you're giving yourself a little bit of height with, and we're opening our chest muscles up. So we're gonna begin with side bending, which is lateral flexion of your spine. One thing I see a lot in this is people like to twist. So think of that as a completely different movement. There's no twisting. So the whole time, what is facing forward right now is going to continue to stay facing straight forward. So taking the right hand over to the right, push off the right hand and anchor your left hip down. It's not gonna get light here. Reach the left arm up. Now straighten your left arm. Touch the ceiling. Go, go, go. If your elbow looks like this, it's not straight. So really reach for it for me. If you're here and this is already challenging, I want you to stay right here. If your arm is fully straight and your left hip is down, then we're gonna start to lean over into the side bend. Okay, so now that I'm in the side bend, I wanna see that the front of my face, my chest, and my belly button are all still straight on, and I haven't twisted towards the floor. So if you feel like you're twisting towards the floor, just tell yourself to do the opposite. Twist towards the ceiling, and that's gonna help get you nice and aligned here. Take a big breath into your left ribs, like you're puffing them out. Breathe into that left lung. And then on your exhale, we're gonna roll up and take this over to the other side. So bringing that left hand down, push off the hand and sit into the right hip. So we want that pelvis level. Reach the right arm up and straighten it. So your right fingertips and your right hip are moving as far apart from each other as possible. Spreading across your chest, so we don't want to look like that at all. So we've got a nice open chest and a neutral spine. We can either hold right here or start to soften into the left elbow, going a little bit further into the side bend, as long as we continue to stay squared. So the front of the pelvis should point forward rather than twisting to the left. Take a big inhale into the right rib. So if you're wearing your shirt, you can think, okay, I'm trying to puff the right side of my body up into my shirt. And then as you exhale, we're going to tighten the belly button and use our core muscles to lift ourselves back up. So now let's flow with it, keeping those alignment reminders. Hips down, super straight in that top arm. That's going to help us open up our lats. Take it up and over to the other side. And I want you to engage your upper back muscles. So when we're in that side bend, we're not closed off. We're nice and open in the chest. Good. Inhale, stretch up and over to the right. Exhale, up and over to the left. Okay, guys, I wore long sleeves and long leggings because you can see outside it's kind of cloudy, but I'm actually already breaking a sweat. So this just goes to show you that we really are using a lot of muscles when we're doing this active stretching. So just because something looks like a hold for a second, like a static stretch, doesn't mean we're not using a lot of different muscles here. Oh my gosh, how good does this feel in our side? So I'm going to give you one more tip, and I'm going to show this from the side. So I want you to think that your back is against a wall, and maybe if you're having a hard time with this, you even go sit against a wall. So when I take my right hand over to the right, you can see my left hip has not lifted. I'm going to push it down, and I'm going to lean my upper body back into that imaginary wall. That's going to help me keep from rounding forward and twisting. And then up and over to the left, find that imaginary wall. Okay, let's take this one more time each side. The abdominal wall should be really long here. So there's no crunch in our core. The distance between the ribs and the hips should stay the same as it would be if you were just sitting up straight and tall. Good, rolling it all the way up. Okay, we're gonna go for some seated cat-cows now. So this is spinal flexion and extension. So you're gonna open your arms to a T, flex your fingers back and drive the hands out through the heel of the hands. Now when I mean spread your hands, it's not that. Open, really go for it. We're trying to stretch the lines of energy in the body. Arms are coming back. You're gonna puff your chest up towards the ceiling as you drop your shoulders down your back. So this is active. It's like I'm doing a lat pull down with my lats. Not like it actually is. Pull your lats down. Woo! That's gonna give you a chest opener. Now you're gonna curl the spine, hugging an imaginary tree in front of you, hollowing out the belly, and spreading your upper back muscles apart. So the complete opposite position of the spine and the scapulas. Flex the fingers, open the chest, and get really tall. Use your core muscles. Grow the spine, relax the shoulders down, and draw the tips of those shoulder blades together at your mid-back. Exhale, scoop round out. Inhale to arch. Push through the heel of the hand. That's going to intensify the stretch all throughout your biceps and the front delts right here. Feeling this all along from the right arm to the left arm. Okay, so we're going to keep going. I'm just going to angle from the side. I'm trying to give you different views so you can really see and feel and know what you're doing. So we're tall in the center. Hands are flexed. Right here at my mid-back, it's like someone's pushing my chest up. Draw your navel in, lift. Relax your shoulders down and squeeze them together. Like you're making a V shape in your upper back. And then scoop the hips under, round the spine. Inhale to arch. Lift, 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 lift. Exhale, scoop around. Okay, final one. Inhale, lift, arch. Exhale, scoop and round. Good, and then restack the back and let's sit nice and tall. So stay sideways to demonstrate the beginning of this one. This is going to be our rotation. So now, below your ribs, so bottom of the rib cage, hips and knees, we want pointing straight forward. Same thing if you're sitting in a chair on the edge of a couch. So let's all twist to the right. We're taking our left hand to the right knee. Lift your spine up. We're in neutral and tighten your core. Then turn your chest to the right and place your left hand or your right hand on the floor or a towel, whatever you're sitting on behind you, and we're going to twist. Now, what I don't want to see is this left hip coming forward. So you're actually going to use this left oblique strength to keep your left hip in place and drawing back. Now push against the floor with the right hand and get taller through both sides of your spine. Lift up as you rotate. And then exhale, we're going to release. So as you can see in the twists, it's a lot of lifting. So I want that lower back to be moving into the body, tailbone out. That's your natural curvature in the lower spine. Right hand, left knee, left fingertips on the mat. That's just gonna give you more height than your palm. Okay, so push down, we're up, and then we're twisting. So on this side, you don't wanna see that your right knee is shooting forward. That's gonna tell you that the hips are out of whack. So draw the right hip back, rotate the chest. See what's going on in the chest. Open it up. Lift up and turn your head. Okay, if it bothers your neck, you can always keep the head forward, but if it doesn't, I would really like you to turn the head as well. So we're getting rotation there. Okay, I'm gonna show you one more time from the side, then I will face you. So let's go to the right. Left hand, right knee, right hand behind you. Go up with the spine. So this back hand's like a kickstand, but you're also using core and back muscles here to rotate. Hug your abdominals into your body. Wring out the waistline. Look over that back shoulder and then come through center. Let's take it to the left. Left hand, right knee. Just kidding. Right hand, left knee. Left hand behind you. We pull up. Then push against that left knee with the right hand. So you're using a lot of strength with the arms. Lift off the left arm. Pull the belly in, pull the right hip back. We are rotating. Good, and then exhale, release through center. Okay, let's get a little bit into the hips. So we've been sitting cross-legged. I just want you to bring your right leg in front so we're all on the same side. And if you have this yoga blanket or pillow that you're sitting on, stay on it. So we're sitting near the tips of it. If you're in a chair, you pretty much need to bring this down to the ground now. So legs are crossed, feet are flexed. I'm pushing my heels away from my body. And the part of your foot that is touching is the pinky toe side of the foot. So the bottom of the feet face the side walls. So this is important foot alignment for the protection of the knees. What's happening when we flex the foot is that it's engaging the shin muscles and tightening the muscles around the knee to keep them safe. So if you're here and your back is really rounded like this, what we need to do is prop up. So more stuff under your hips, leaning back against a wall will help. Other suggestion is hands behind you. You can lean back and just focus on getting long. So it's fine if the arms are pretty far back. Just try to straighten out your spine and drop your knees to the floor. Okay, then if we're good, you can come forward and lift out of the hips here. So that'd be the progression. Then if we're good, we start to come forward into it. But what I want to focus on today is really drawing the chest up. So the abdominal wall is long even once we've gone forward. So you can grab your knees or your shins and start to pull yourself forward. Think of peering over a cliff, like looking out rather than straight down. Engage your upper back and start to lean into it. So this is going to give us a stretch in our glutes in our low backs. Your glutes is basically your butt and your outer hips, which is still part of the glute. So if you do like a big clamshell side-lying booty Pilates class, this is gonna get really tight. If you use that booty band, this is gonna get tight. Sitting a lot will make this tight, so this should feel nice. So I want you to start to lean into it a little bit more. Continue to engage that upper back, and let's take a little sway right and left. You know, maybe you can come to your forearms, but I really don't want your focus for this how low you can go into the stretch. I want it to be how much you can stay engaged with your muscles. So we're not totally just like chilling here unless that's really what you need today. But this class was more to focus on teaching you the correct position and the active position of stretching. Because I feel like I see a lot of stuff online that just, you know, it shows the stretch and then it plays music over it. I mean, you're definitely going to get benefits just sitting in some of these positions, but if you don't really know how to set it up properly with the props or where to draw in properly with your muscles, I really don't think you're going to get as much out of it in the long term. Just honest opinion. So if you're looking to kind of level up your stretching, you're in the right spot. So I'm just taking this sway right and left. So there's something about stretching fascia. It likes to be hit from different angles. So this is still a little bit more dynamic. It's not really intense like we're doing some standing stretching, but it does have movement to it. So we're hitting different parts of the lower back, the QL, the glutes. Man, I can just talk forever about this stuff. And if you're still here, I'm sure you must enjoy it. So I hope so. Okay, so let's bring it up. Let's just straighten the legs for a second and reset the knees. So we're gonna switch the legs. Left leg's coming in front. If you did the other leg on the other side, that's okay. Just position it so we're at the next side. Now, you can lean back on the hands and lift really tall. You can bring your hands to your knees and pull against it. So find the position that works for you. And I'm gonna show this from the side as well real quick. So this is what I mean. If your back is like this and you're doing this, you're just not gonna get a lot further with this stretch, promise you. And you know, if you've been doing this for years and you're like, why am I not getting more flexible? That is why. So what you wanna work is more pillows under the hips, which is fine. Don't be afraid to use props. Hands behind you and straightening your back. And you can be back here, okay? So we've kind of come out of this tucked position in the hips and we find some length in the spine. Then you're graduating it by walking it forward and getting tall. Even as we go forward, the goal is still not to round, but to extend. So I can push off the blanket or whatever I'm sitting on, and I'm sticking my tailbone out rather than tucking it under right now. So I'm getting this length in the low back. From there, I grab the knees and I pull forward. Active pulling. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Belly button drawing in. Ribs moving away from frontal hips. And then maybe the hands come to the floor. So that's the progression of that one. And once I've brought my hands to the floor, I'm still pulling against the floor, opening the chest, and lowering down nice and slow. Somehow I think I switched legs. Okay. So we're moving into it. Sternum forward, tailbone back. Oh yeah, I could tell I hadn't done this side yet. Okay, and then just check the positioning of the foot. So we don't want to sickle the foot where the top of the foot, the toenails are facing the ground. Toenails should face side wall. Sole of the foot should face the opposite side wall. Good, coming forward, and then let's add just that little sway. Moving through the lower back. Good, and having the idea of the center of your chest moving to the front wall. So not just the face. So you could be like this, and that's not really what we're going for because that's just your neck and that's like over cranking the neck. So you're looking out in front of you, but not too far forward. And you're pushing the center of your chest forward. That's what's gonna really lengthen through this back body. Good, let's continue to deeply breathe in this. Good, and then we're just gonna walk it up, coming to a seat. So we're bringing this into our straddle. So I'm going to show this to you, face on and then sideways. So using the prop, legs can go wide into a V. Now my suggestion for today is not going for the widest V, especially if you're like this. So make your V smaller. We're on the prop or props, and we're using the arms to lift the torso up. So thinking of posture. If you're really rounded in your back, I want you to think of doing the complete opposite shape in your spine. So almost simulating a back bend. So I'm gonna think of crunching the center of my back. It's probably not gonna look like a back bend, but it's gonna take us from here and more straight up. What's going on in the legs? I'm pushing out through the heels, so we're in a flex foot, and I'm drawing up through my quad muscles. Something to be aware of. There's a big difference between straightening your legs from engaging the thighs than from jamming your knees down to the floor. That is not where we want to be. We don't want to think of the knee driving down. I want you to think of your quads pulling up and the quads pressing down. Maybe that's a little confusing if it's kind of a new thought, but if you're feeling it in your knee joint, then you're probably driving the knee down. So just be careful about that. So if you feel that, then I would put a bend in the knees and squeeze the quads. Those are two different things. Squeezing the quads is a muscular action. Jamming your knees down is a joint action. So we don't want to do the thing in the joints. We want those to be soft and the quads to be taut. Okay, so let's look at this from a side angle. Let's see where I have space. Okay, so we're gonna take the V wide. We see the back body, right? We've got the legs engaged properly and also turning out. So your thigh, knee, and toes are rotating to the back of the room. One thing that happens here a lot is that people turn out just from their foot, kind of like this. That's actually not that helpful. We really want it to start from the hip. So it's fine if your foot turns out, but you need the hip, the leg and the hip to turn out. So that's the rotation we want. So inner thighs up, outer thighs back. Then we're using the hands like we did with the last exercise. You can progress. So we can be here. We can walk it forward. We can peer over the imaginary cliff out rather than straight down. And remember, the center of your heart is going forward, not just your face. So when you come forward, this is a good view. See how the neck has its natural curve? That's why we're gonna look forward and out and not kind of like up, because it's gonna start to pinch your neck and that won't be great. So we've got that. Legs are going to want to start to turn in the further you go forward. So you're going to need to work harder to turn the legs out. Then we're going to crawl the hands forward, but instead of you leaning on your hands, I want you lifting off of them and pulling the floor to you energetically. The hands won't actually move, but that's the sensation. I'm gripping the floor and try to pull it to me. This is going to open up through the sides of the chest and engage the upper back. Good. Now I'm really going to work my abs and my lower back, my spinal erectors to pull up. I'm really going to work my turn out, rolling the thighs back in space. If you are not warm and a little sweating right now, then I don't know, guys. You should be warm. We are working some stuff. Okay, so let's check in. Are the legs engaged? Are the heels pushing out? Is the spine lifting up? Again, the quads can be engaged without the knees being straight. So 2 different actions. So if you feel pressure in the knee, bend the knee. Okay, let's come forward, and now we're gonna just add that little sway. And I want you to just try to breathe through it and loosen up into the stretch. Okay, and you can sway on the hands. If the forearms becomes too deep, you can come down to those forearms. Okay, but like I said a second ago, the lower you go, the easier it is to lose the form in the legs. So just keep working the turnout here. Good, keep going. I'm just gonna turn to face you. Okay, let's take a couple more deep breaths, maybe getting nice and low. So I've gone lower. Obviously, my face is facing the floor now, but I'm still trying to pull my torso out of my hips and take the crunch out of my abdominal wall. Good, okay, so let's bring this all the way on up. So the next stretch is really good for your QL and your low back. So we'll keep the right leg straight and bring the left leg into a butterfly. Let's grab a yoga block, a book, or a pillow and put it underneath this left knee. So something, even if you don't need it, because this is something I'm going to teach you to feel. So your left knee, your left hip are driving down. There is pressure. There is no space here. I'm pushing my left knee into the block. My left hip is heavy. You really want to keep that for this stretch, okay? So lift the body up. Actively turn at the ribs. I still have not lost weight or pressure in the left knee or left hip. Then take the hands to either side of the right leg, or left hand to the outside of the right leg and the right hand to the floor. You're going to twist the body at your ribs and your chest, anchor the body at your left hip and your left knee. Okay, so anywhere you get good leverage, traction the floor, grab the leg or take the hand position that I showed you, one to the outside, one to the floor, and then you're gonna start to lean into it. Now you're only gonna go as low as this left tush and knee doesn't pop up. Hug your abdominals in, and then you can drop your head down to go a little deeper. Twist the ribs. This should give you a really nice stretch in the left side of your lower back. Now, if you're uber flexible and have no problem keeping your left hip and your left knee down, then you don't have to use the block. See, my knee's up, so I need something. But I want you to be able to push the knee into the floor. Well, maybe I can kind of do it today. I guess it just kind of depends. So knee has pressure to it. It's like your clamshell. When you push your knee up and out, that's what I want you to feel. Good, so the arms can walk down the leg, and then we're gonna extend the spine more and twist. Ooh, big opening in the left side of that low back. And so you should really feel that both sits bones have weight on them while we hold this stretch. Okay, let's bring it all the way up. Coffee, matcha, water moment. And then we're gonna do the next side. So just take whatever prop you had, bring the right leg in to your butterfly position. So the foot lines up with the pubic bone, and the left leg's going to open to a diagonal. So again, options. This knee can be softly bent, and it doesn't have to be as wide. Okay. Hip bones will stay facing forward, and I'm trying to find pressure into the block with my right outer knee into my hip. So I'm not sitting into the left hip. If you look like this, you need to get another pillow or prop underneath your hips. Active twist, muscles in the core, pull up and in. Now turn your ribs. Drive your right knee down, doing the work, and then hands to this left thigh can help you rotate. Hands on the floor can help you rotate. You can have the right hand to the outside of the left leg, left hand to the floor, and we twist. Now, as much as I'm twisting my upper body to the left, I'm driving this right knee down. Then I'm going to start to fold, maintaining that pressure on the right knee and right hip. And sometimes if I feel like I'm falling off the knee and hip, I'll use this hand that's on the floor, the left hand, push off of it to send my weight back into the right hip, right knee. Good. Pull the belly button in and then send the sternum forward. Okay, so as we use the hands to help us twist, like we're pushing the floor to the front of the room so we can turn the chest to the back of the room, we're also then going to do the second action of tractioning. So you pull the floor to you or you pull the leg to you, and that's going to help get your spine longer. So twist and lengthen, and then release, breathe into it, and repeat the actions. So you're not just going to do it like one time and think, oh, it's over, because it's so many different moving parts. You have to then go, wait, is my right knee and hip down and engaged? Am I still twisting? Am I still lengthening? So eventually it will become muscle memory and a little bit more natural, but it's something to learn and feel in the body. And don't worry if you can only get one part of it today. Remember, you can do this class many, many times. Grow with it. Good, and then release. Ooh, did we feel that on the right side? Good, and roll up. Okay, so we're gonna take this into some hamstring stretches. So I'm going to bring the block back over to the left. My right leg's going to go straight, and the block's gonna go to the outside of the left knee. The sole of the left foot and the right inner thigh are pressing into each other. Now, what's important about this is I don't want this leg to be just kind of rolling open and relaxed. We want the inner thigh to be rolling down, outer thigh lifting up. Option to use the strap here. So if you're really tight, you could one, sit against a wall or a couch, which will help support your spine. You could two, put the arms behind you. You can three, use the strap. I'm gonna give you tons and tons of options. And pull against the strap, pressing your quad muscle up and down. So drawing it up, pressing it down, and lifting the torso out of the hips. It should be a lot of work. It's not easy. I mean, I can really feel the work here. Okay, so I'm gonna show you those three options again. You're up against, I could even sit against this to support the back. I can use my hands like the kickstand we've been using them for. And remember, you can be further back. We can use this yoga strap or belt or towel or a booty band. You just loop it around, grab it, and pull in. So I want you to really keep this length. So right where the hip crease is, I'm lifting the torso up and pressing the thigh down. Remember, not from your knee. So if you get the pain in the knee, we micro bend the knee and we engage the quad, not to jam the knee. Other option always could be to put the block behind or towel behind the back of the knee. You're still gonna get a hamstring stretch. It will just keep it from going into the joint, which might be uncomfortable. Okay, so we've got the lift. Left knee, left hip stayed down. Now lead with your chest going up and over the toes. Ooh, I feel that. Your hips should be pointing straight forward. So the bony parts of your hips, they want to be level and straight on. So sometimes in this stretch, I see that the leg we're not stretching is kind of opening up and we're like this. So be mindful of that. Try to bring the supporting hip forward and this right hip back. Okay, now you can crawl down the strap to go a little deeper into this hamstring stretch. But what I want you to feel is that your back muscles are engaging and your chest muscles are stretching open. Okay, and remember, we're really focusing more on lengthening the torso today rather than just dropping and folding into the stretch. Okay, let's take a couple more deep breaths here. Okay, so once you start to fold, then just repeat the actions. Lengthen, rotate the chest straight onto that right knee. Go into it. Maybe you're getting to a point where you grab the foot. We're not grabbing the foot if we're like this. If your belly button is going behind you into your back, then this isn't where we want to be. We want the belly button out, coming with us. Okay, now let's talk about the foot. So a lot of times I actually see this foot position where the bottom of the foot is turning in. We're supinating here. So you want all of your toes pointing straight up and you want them making one line in front of your face. So this is not a line. This is like a diagonal line. I want a straight line. So I'm going to send the arch of my foot forward and pull, lots of blonde hair, the outer edge of my foot to my outer ankle. So now you can see how my toes make one line across, or they line up with the edge of the mat, you can say. Okay, we're starting to release, so we're just breathing into it. I feel like hamstrings always take a moment to let go, but I feel like we were pretty warm from everything we've done so far today. So once we're getting lower, I'm going to show you some new options. If the hands are on the feet and you're feeling good, I want you to really start to rotate your ribs. So you're going to turn the left ribs to the right. Nothing has moved in my hips. So what it will now look like is the left side of my body is going lower and the right side of my body is pulling up. And I'm just going to release down. Second option, not necessarily a level up or a level down, just a different hand position, is the left hand to the outside of the leg and the right hand to the floor. Pull the belly button back. Use the left hand to twist your chest. Push off the right hand. And then you're going to fold to the outside of the leg. To go further, you bring the left hand to the outer edge of the foot. Twist and fold down. You can drop the head if you're at a place that feels appropriate. Once we've gone down, we then again try to find the length. Okay, then something we haven't talked too much about yet is softening. So there's always a balance with effort and ease. So we want to really work the pose, but not to the point that you're creating more tension in your body. So just check in. I want you to really try and do your best, but mentally we're not getting upset with ourselves if we can't go that far. Release and roll it up. Whew, that was a big one. I feel like I'm getting blushed from all this heat we're building, or maybe it's Starbucks, who knows. Okay, so we're gonna switch it out. So we have the block to the outside of this right knee. It's supporting it. The left leg is straight forward. What I want you to see is the sole of the right foot and your left inner thigh roll into each other and connect. Okay, and then I've propped myself up. So let's walk through the options again. You have a wall, back yourself way back into the wall, sit up, breathe, flex the foot. You've got your hands, we can be on a kickstand. Remember to add more props under the hips if you need, or possibly we take the yoga strap. So we're gonna put that around the ball of the foot. This is a good time too to set the foot position up once you have the strap. So if you see that the foot is turning in and the sole of the foot doesn't face away from you, your outer hand, your left hand, you're gonna pull more with. See how that kind of turns the foot and helps? Okay, flex the foot now so the heel moves out, the toes move in, and widen the toes. Move the toes apart. Engage your quad, really work for it, and then lift. Build the posture up. So what this should feel like is the energy in the front of the body lifting and in the back of the body moving down, right? Your shoulder blades are dropping down. Your lats are dropping down. We're sitting heavy in the tailbone. Woo, this feels good. Okay, so we've got that lift. You think that your leg and your torso are two different entities. Leg down, torso up, make space at your hip crease, especially this left one. And we're gonna just lean forward into it a little bit if we need that. Okay, we want to see that this right hip is pointing forward, and I feel like I actually do need to pull my left hip back a little bit. That's why it's always good to just double check. Okay, then we're going to turn our chest a little bit. So I'm turning the center of my chest to the outside of the left leg. There's pressure on the block with my right knee. I'm sitting equally in my right hip and my left hip. I'm just going to start to peer forward. Move the upper back muscles together, drop them down. This should almost feel like a back workout. Coming forward into it. And remember, if you need to modify from one side to the other, the shape or how far you go may look a little different, and there's no problem with that. Or even adjusting as we get further and further along into the stretch. Okay, even if you're not getting further forward and you're just sitting in the position the whole time and not making a change, just stay there and breathe and work the actions that you can. Try to understand new ones. So these long holds really do help the body release. If you need to come out of it and come back in, that's totally fine as well. Maybe we're at a place where we're starting to grab that foot. And remember, we're trying to create the length in the front of the body and drop the shoulders down to the back of the body. Okay, feel the pressure between the sole of your right foot and your left inner thigh. And we come forward. Oh my gosh, guys, every time I do this and I see my legs, I'm like, oh, I really need a shave. But we're heading into fall, so it's legging season. Okay, so what's gonna happen next is the rib cage twist. So you're gonna see it in your chest and your ribs. So I'm gonna rotate my ribs to the left. What this will do is relax my right shoulder down and lift the left side of my waistline up. And I'm gonna drop down and then go for the length. So I am getting a little deeper here. And I want you at this point to find that balance of the effort and the ease. So try to relax into it a bit. Good, and then we're going to release and bring it up. Okay, so we've done so much what almost feels like spinal extension, right? We've really been trying to lengthen. So we're gonna do the next one a little different for a second to counter. So you're gonna hollow out your stomach, scoop your abs in, and round your back, reaching for your legs, and you're just gonna give me a little sway right and left. Now, if you're really tight, you can have your knees bent as you do this. Okay, if you're a little looser, you're still stretching your back out more than your legs at this point. You can just go a little lower, drop more of the top of the head towards the legs. And let's give it a sway. Loosen things up before I come at you again with some intense alignment for the stretches. Good. Maybe as you sway, you're just working yourself a little bit lower and lower towards the feet or even grabbing them. Okay, let's bring it on up. So we are going to do both legs now. Let's use a yoga block and the strap. And I'm going to go sideways for this one. Okay, so we're going to sit on our prop or whatever we've been doing. We've got our block and our strap. So what I want you to do is first take the block or your book, whatever you're using, you can use a pillow too, and stand it up tall ways so that you can squeeze it with the inside of the foot. The foot is in the position we talked about. So the toes make one straight line. The bottom of the foot does not face the block. It faces away from you. I want you to squeeze your ankles into this block. Then take your strap or whatever you got around the feet in the block. Okay, so let's start bottom up. We've situated the feet, so the sole of the foot is out. Now I want you to move your heel out. So that's very small, but when someone says flex their foot, it's not from the ball of the foot, it's from the heel. The more you do that, the more we're gonna get this. So push your heels out. Maybe you bend the knees a little bit, squeeze your quads up. So opposing energies, heels out, thighs up. We've got one edge of the strap in each hand. Then we're gonna light that core up. Belly button draws up, and we're gonna pull up. So I want you to think of a back bend here. Squeeze the block, firm the quads, and lift the torso. Push the sternum up and drop your shoulders down your spine. Okay, drive your legs into the block. Use those inner thighs. And stick that tailbone out behind you as you push your heels forward. We should be feeling something. If you want to go deeper, choke up more on the strap, but lift higher up. So you can hinge forward a little bit, but keep that distance between the torso and the thighs. So this should be a lot of stretch in your lower back, maybe the calves and the hamstrings. Ooh, if your quad muscles are shaking, that's a good sign. That means you turn them on. Okay, so we're gonna now hinge. So you can bend the elbows and open your chest up. Walk the hands down the straps, and we just start to bring it forward. Whew. Breaking a sweat. How hard can you squeeze the block in between the feet? Good. Pull the ribs away from the belly button and hinge forward. So your next space would be to release the strap. You can grab the legs. You can also do that if you don't have the yoga strap. Keep that intensity of drawing the legs to the midline and pull against the legs with the hands. So rather than being in this relaxed position with my shoulders, I'm actively pulling my sternum to the block. You can also have the hands on the outer edges of the feet and reach your chest to that yoga block. And then slowly we're gonna lower closer and closer to the ground. So once I've found the fold, I'm gonna reach through the sternum and just wash, rinse, repeat those actions. Fold and find the length. Okay, there's also space to walk the hands past the legs and grip the mat there. So lots of options for you. Okay, slowly bring it all the way back up. Oh my gosh, I'm totally sweating. Okay, guys, so we're gonna change positions. So we've really just done a ton of seated hamstring work. We're now gonna move into a little bit of internal rotation. So I usually don't use this for this one. If you find that you need it, just grab it. Okay, so let's show this face on and sideways. So you're gonna take your left leg straight forward in line with your left hip. Then you're gonna bend your right knee and turn it out to the right. Now the distance between your legs will grow depending on how much you can handle with the stretch. So right now, if we've got about this kind of angle and your knee is lifted, then you can definitely put the blanket there or the block there. That's gonna help support the knee and not put too much stress on it. Otherwise, if you're good here, we're gonna keep moving this knee back until it lines up with the hip. That's about our perfect spot. We're not trying to go further back, knee in line with hip. If your knee has lifted, bring it further forward or put the blanket underneath it. Okay, so with the left leg, toes and knee point to the sky, hands are coming behind the back. So we can continue this stretch going deeper and deeper by leaning back. So I'm now gonna show it to you sideways. Okay, so we'll still stay. Left leg forward, right knee is turning out to the right. Okay, I've got the knee lining up with the hip. Okay, so you can be here. We can start to lean back and bend the elbows. We can start to come down to the forearms. If it's in your body and feels right and is not compressing the lower back, you could lay down. I don't necessarily feel like that is right for me, so this is where I'm gonna hang today. If I've given you these options and your knee is now doing this, that is not where we wanna be because that's gonna put strain on the body. So find a place where the knee is protected. I gave you tons of options. Remember, it's not about doing the biggest posture. Like, I'm still not even all the way down, right? No big deal. I'm in a place that feels good to me. I'm not gonna just demo something that doesn't feel right because we do not wanna get injured. That is not our goal here. Whew, that feels nice, huh? Or maybe you're like, breathe through it. Okay, so let's just walk it up. Okay, use your hand, your right hand, grab the back of the thigh and bring the leg forward. Good, and then just release the knee. So let's look at this from the other side. We're going right leg forward. You're gonna take your left knee and turn the knee out. Maybe this is where we're at, and that's all good. Hands are behind us. Potentially we widen the angle, and we're creating a little pressure and pushing the knee down and rolling the hip forward. This feels like I really needed this today. I'm glad we're here doing it. Okay, and then you'll see the advancement. So we've got the right leg forward, the left knee wide. I'm creating pressure. I'm rolling my hip forward, and that left knee presses down. And then I'm gonna just see if it also feels good on this side to come this low. So I'm trying to line my chest up with the straight leg and trying to square off. So belly button and chest will either face straight forward or towards the ceiling. So I don't really want to be like in a twist here. Yeah, so hips and chest, I'm trying to line up a little bit. There is definitely a little twist in the pelvis, but I'm not letting it overdo itself. If you pick a position that does become too intense, just back off and pick a different one or come out and reset. Remember, you can take a child's pose or any sort of recovery stretch at any time. Good, and then let's walk it on up. Use the hand and help the leg through. Okay, our first specific quad stretch of the day. So bring your right shin, knee in line with hip, in front of you. And then your left knee will look kind of like it just did in that internally rotated shape. So I'm going to take my left hand to either the outside of my left foot or my left shin. I'm going to lean over on my right hand, open the chest up, float the left knee. Now I want you to tuck your tailbone, draw your belly back. If you want to go further, we can lean over on this right forearm. Now really start to pull the heel to your back to add intensity. Lengthen your tailbone to the bottom of the mat and draw your belly button to the top of the mat. Your leg that you're stretching, the left knee, so instead of it being forward, we want to bring it back so the knee's underneath the hip. And remember, these cues are so you know where it should end up. If it doesn't look like that today, it's totally okay. We're just working on it. Good, okay, we're gonna give that a release and switch to the other side. So left shin is lining up with the front of the mat. Grab the outside of the right foot and lean over onto the left hand. Open the chest up. Lift up through the right knee and pull the heel in. Maybe you come a little bit further over onto this left forearm. So let's look at the pelvis. We're gonna curl the hip bones to the ribs and fill up the lower back. So there's not a back bend in the lower back here. Energetically reach your right knee to the bottom of the mat. So instead of shortening your waistline, create a lot of length here. Top of the head to the opposite wall, to the left wall. And then just guide that right heel in toward your bum as it feels right, or maybe you have plenty of a stretch. Good, so we did a lot of forward bending. So this area could get kind of tight, so this should start to be countering some of the stretches we did earlier. Awesome, and release. Okay, so we're gonna come into a pose called Virasana. Sometimes people are really scared to do this one because it's a lot of flexion on the knees. Now, I will tell you with personal experience, I was one of those people and I actually had knee pain, so it made me not want to do them. And then when I started doing it properly with the props, it actually has completely helped my knees so much. I'm not saying that will definitely be your experience, but if you're afraid to try it, I would just try it really propped up and see if it helps you. Okay, so here we go. We have the blocks. You can use a bunch of blankets, bunch of pillows, and sit on that instead. What we're gonna do, feet are untucked, hips distant. So your toenails face the ground, and we're gonna put the blocks in between the feet. And then we're gonna sit on them. Or you can have a bunch of pillows over your shins and sit on them that way. So I'm gonna show you from the back so we can show you different settings of the blocks. So if we want it really high, we've got one horizontal block and then maybe one tall block on top. So for me, that is a bit too high. I'm not even tall enough for that, but that would be a setting you could do. And then advancing, you've got a medium horizontal block and we're sitting there. Advancing, we've got two horizontal blocks. I feel like this is a really nice spot to start. From there, you can go one medium. I know there are a bunch. From there, you can go a flat. From there, you're going to try to drop your butt down between your heels. If you have space like I do, I would put a mat or a towel there. So I wouldn't just suspend my hips in space. So I would do something like this and slide it. So I have a little bit of a seat. So this for me would be perfect. So I want you to find the position that works for you. I'm actually gonna stay backwards to you because we're gonna do some chest opening. So my tailbone's moving down, my belly button's moving up. You're on whatever prop setting I walked you through that works. You're gonna take your arms, make fists. press your fists into each other and close your hands. Then open your chest and reach your elbows down. Drop your shoulders down. So instead of being here, shoulders, lats, elbows reach to the ground. This is not doable. You take the arms lower and apart. If you progress, you bring the arms up. If you continue to progress, you bring the palms together. And we're spreading across the chest. Now draw your upper abs towards your hands or fists. Lift your sternum without splaying the ribs. Drop into your tailbone as your heart lifts up. Good, so let's just take a couple more breaths there. I'm gonna turn sideways so I feel like we can be part of this together. If you feel pressure in your knee, then you've had enough. You can do the upper body work and just take a seat on a chair or flat with crossed legs on the ground. And that can be different each day. Okay, we're gonna slide the hands out. Okay, I do feel like I wanna go into a block now. I feel like this is becoming a little bit too deep for me right now, but we are gonna try to continue to hold this. So remember, you can always make adjustments and grab your yoga strap. Oh, we're into some chest opening. This is gonna feel awesome. So take whatever you're using for your strap behind you, hold it with your palms facing your back and your thumb on the outside. Now this movement really comes from here and not the hand. So from the shoulder, move the shoulder off your chest, draw your back muscles together and reach the strap back. And then we're gonna release and relax. Open the chest, engage the back, and then reach back. So our goal, I'll show you what the goal is not, is this, and just getting really straight locked out elbows. So what's actually better if you tend to hyperextend the elbow is drawing your elbows towards each other and not letting them straighten. So think more of the inside of your elbow trying to touch the right and left inside of the elbow, trying to touch each other behind your back and not popping the joint. So earlier how we talked about the knee joints, I want you to think more of squeezing your upper back and your triceps together rather than drawing from your elbow joint. Okay, if you're able to get the shoulder to move, then you can bring the hands a little closer on the strap and widen the chest. If you can't get it to move, I would just go wider until you can get that sensation in the heart to open up. Okay, I'm gonna angle towards you a little bit more and let's do 3 of these. So we're gonna relax the shoulders and then spread the shoulders off the chest. Big breath in. And then exhale, release. Let's take that 2 more times. Inhale, open the heart. Drop the shoulders down, reach the strap back. Exhale, release. Last one, big breath in. And deep breath out. So maybe you keep the strap. If you're ready to advance, it's going to be interlacing the fingers. So your precursor before you advance is that you can open this up. If we're there, then we're gonna clasp the hands. And remember, we're moving the shoulders and the elbows towards each other behind the back, then beginning to lengthen the arms. But if your shoulders are rounded and you're just popping your elbows, you're not getting the stretch, right? You're just in the joint. So open the chest, reach back. Oh, that feels nice. And then release 2 more times. You can even add a little bit of extension of that chest, pushing the chest towards the chin. And release. Last one. Inhale, big breath in. Exhale, deep breath out. Okay, hang on guys. We're gonna do 1 more stretch in this position. I know it's a long hold. Remember, you can always come out of it if you need. Triceps, so right arm up. This is what I see a lot of times when people are stretching their tricep, something like this. So let's look at what it really should look like. So right arm up. What you need to do is rotate your tricep forward. So I want you to spread your right shoulder blade away from the spine. That's a little bit different than what we've done a lot. We've been retracting them, right? I want you to widen your upper back. So like sometimes people call the lats the wings. So you want to kind of spread through the wings of your back, reach up. So we're moving the right shoulder blade away from the spine, which is going to help turn our upper arm forward. Then we're going to bend the elbow and grab the elbow with the free hand, with the left hand, and lift up. Pin the ribs in and continue to spiral that upper arm forward. Relax the shoulders down. Okay, lift the body up. Oh, this always gets so tight. So where I really want you to feel stuff moving is where your armpit is. That should be where you're turning the arm in the socket. So the elbow is hugging the head rather than winging out to the side like this. It is actually very challenging to get this kind of shoulder mobility. So just one step at a time. We're all breaking a sweat. Good. Okay, release. Oh, that and quads, those two get me. Okay, one more, then we're gonna come out of this position. We got the other side. So you're spreading your left shoulder blade. We reach the left arm up. So from the upper arm, we're turning the tricep forward, the elbow area, palm in. Bend the elbow and grab the left elbow with the right hand to lift. Then you're probably gonna have to do those actions again. Spread the shoulder blade and wrap your upper arm forward. Now, exhale, pull your rib cage backwards, and then see how much you can lift the torso up. Woo! A juicy stretch. Okay, really bend the arm. So that rather than the hand, this left hand being up, you're trying to bring it closer and closer towards that left shoulder blade. Take a big breath in. And release. Okay, guys, so we're going to come off the block, hallelujah, and we're going to come to all fours. I want you to just reset the meniscus, the knees, by tucking the left toes behind you and pushing the heel back. Engage your quad. Release, set it down, and let's take that to the other side. Tuck the right toes, push the right heel back. Good, and then release. Okay, so grab the yoga blocks. This can be done with or without yoga blocks. I'll show both. Take the yoga blocks, vertical to each side of the mat and flat. This is called puppy's pose. It's a big spinal extension. Let's start from the hands up. Palms are on the yoga blocks, spread out really wide. We're gonna back the knees up. Your elbows are going to turn to the floor without your hand lifting. So the whole hand's gotta stay sealed. Pointer finger, thumb, they're down. Elbow rotates, and then you're gonna drop your chest down and lift your hips up. Maybe your head touches the floor as your bottom lifts up towards the sky. Now in this position, it's like the tricep stretch. I am trying to spread my shoulder blades apart to help me turn my elbows to the ground. The arms are not relaxed like that. The elbows do not drop to the floor. They're really engaged. Your tricep muscles should be firing. So to advance this one, the knees can walk further back so that it allows for more spinal extension. Rather than looking down, you can also look forward towards the blocks, lift the hips up and back, and send the chest forward and through the blocks. Pull the ribs in, lift the navel, allow the spine to go into extension. Okay, so you can hold that right there if you have the blocks. You can move in and out of it. I'm gonna show it without the blocks. So basically the knees move further back as we go more intense. We're on the hands. They're spread super wide. You're driving the whole palm down as we rotate the back of the arm to the floor. We're dropping the chest and lifting the hips. I would even suggest trying to kind of tuck your elbows underneath so the floor is holding the arms in place as you drop your head, your chest, and lift your booty. This feels so good to me. Also an option to take a little sway from the right and the left arm. Big stretch in the lats and in the side body. Knees can eventually migrate a little bit further back to get deeper into this chest extension. Good, and then we're gonna exhale, tighten the belly, and walk it in. Okay, hands and knees, all fours. Push the floor away, kick the shins down, and round out the spine. Think of pushing the floor apart laterally, like you're trying to rip the mat in two with the hands. Good, and then flatten out the back. Okay, guys, let's grab our yoga blocks. We are going to stretch the arches of our feet. So take the yoga blocks or a pillow, just something with a little height. I'm making one long line with flat blocks and connected on the short end. So we're gonna go kneeling. I'm gonna show this forward and from the back so you can see. So knees are coming on your prop. Toes are tucked. Now, I see a lot of times people put like the top of their toe down. You want the ball of the foot down. So you're really trying to get a lot of the foot down. Then the heels, we want to pull them in right over the toes. And maybe you're like, okay, yeah, I feel it. Then you stay right here. If you need more, you're going to sit onto your heels. Next place, hands to the prop. Next place, we bring the weight back. So we're sitting on the heels. So this can be like a crazy sensation if you've never done it. So remember, just bring more weight onto your hands and less in the feet and breathe through it. So let's just look at that from the back. So you're kneeling on your prop of choice, okay? And I want you to tuck your toes. Maybe you even help the toes, so you pull them forward. If you have really stiff feet, that might be a good option. I see this a lot. So I want the heels to come in over the foot. And then you're gonna back it up and take a seat. We're feeling good, guys. We got this. Okay, open across the chest, move the tailbone down and the belly up. Good, okay, let's just shift forward, come off the blocks and release. Okay, we're coming into one of my favorite kind of mobility drills. I'm gonna show it with the blocks and also with the chair. If you are on the tighter side and you have a chair, I would highly suggest the chair because I think it just gives you a little bit more height. So we're gonna step the left foot forward, hands are on the chair, and then the right knee is gonna go back behind us. And we need to tuck your pelvis and push off the chair. So you're trying to get the front of the body really long. This is our lunge stretch. You should feel it in the front of your right hip. Then we're gonna push off the chair and straighten the front leg and lengthen the spine. So in both of these positions, I want you to push off the chair and rather than leaning into it. So we're gonna lunge, the hips are gonna drop, we're gonna tuck the hips and lift the torso. And then we're gonna go into that half split and we're stretching the back of the leg, dropping the left hip towards the floor, lifting the spine up. So we're gonna continue to alternate between those two. I'm just gonna show it with the chair. You've got two yoga blocks, or with the blocks. Blocks to the inside of the right leg. Gonna drop your hips down and push off the yoga blocks. And remember, we're going for height, so high blocks are better than the flat ones. You're gonna move the blocks to you and straighten the front leg, flexing the foot. Okay, so walk it forward, low lunge, drop your hips, and then walk it back, or into that half split. So you can pick where you want to be. I think I'm going to use the chair today because I'm feeling a little stiff. So I'm going to drop my hips down, and then I'm going to find that length and pull my hips back. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale into the half split. Now let me show this to you face on. So I'm just going to use the chair as a little support. When you do the half split and you're here, you really want to look at your pelvis. So see how this hip is hiked up on my left leg? I want to drop it down so that the pelvis makes one line across. And then I'm lengthening the spine. This is going to be super helpful in getting deeper and deeper into this hamstring. So again, look at that. So no crunch in the side body. Drop, it's hard to balance without the chair. Drop the outer hip down. So keep that in mind. Let's do one more and then we'll switch to the other side. So low lunge, big lift of the belly and the torso. And then we're in the half split. So drop the left hip down as well as pull it back. So you're trying to get your natural curve in your lower back. Okay guys, so we're gonna step it in. Take your blocks or your chair to the other side. So I'm not gonna demo switching equipment so we can just keep moving, but you know if you need to rewind, you can rewind to see how I set it up. So your right foot or whatever leg is in front is gonna be to the outside of the chair, hands on the chair, back the left knee up. You could always put a blanket underneath your back knee. If you're like, dude, this is not comfortable, you know, we wanna make it comfortable. And by the way, that's exactly how I'm feeling right now. So we're on wood. Inhale, we're in the low lunge. And then exhale, we're gonna pull it back. I'm always so motivated to film on Wednesdays, and that's the day the gardener comes. So sorry about the leaf blower. But you know, they say in yoga and meditation, you just have to embrace the natural sounds. And I suppose those are our natural sounds in the 21st century. And we appreciate the gardener because I would have no idea what I would be doing if I was doing that. Okay, so back to stretching. Low lunge, we lift, and half split. So when you're here, take that peek. Where is your left hip? Is it going out to the side? Am I kind of like sitting in it? You gotta lift out of it, pull up, and draw it over the left knee. Right hip drops down. So yeah, we're moving back and forth between these two, but work it. Take a second, make sure we're tucking the pelvis in the lunge, and then in the half split, make sure the pelvis is aligned. If you have a hard time with the alignment, I would bring the chair just like really close to you. It'll definitely help. Oh, take a second, check in. How much better are we feeling today? I feel like sometimes with this like high pressure in the air and gloom and rain, the body just does not feel wonderful. So you really need to get it moving. It's like getting rid of that sluggish, tired energy. We're doing it. Okay, one more. We're gonna low lunge. And we're gonna take it to that half split. Okay, so we're gonna switch sides and get a little bit deeper for the half split. So blocks or chair is going to head over to the right. We're gonna take this left leg to the outside of the chair. So it's a little bit wider than the hip. I'm gonna check the hips. Right hip over the right knee, left hip dropping down, and I'm gonna really stick my butt out. I even need to put a little bend in my knee to get that movement in the pelvis. I don't have it with the leg straight. So bend the knee, stick your tailbone out. Then walk your hands to the back of the chair or move your blocks out and come lower. Still working that length through your back body. So we are deep in the hamstrings now. With this left leg in front, I want you to think of shifting your body weight left, drawing the right hip over the right knee, moving the left hip down and back. Okay, so we set this up in, I would call the easier stretches because we were seated. This takes a little bit more balance. The foot, everything we've talked about applies here. So toes make one line. Arch of the foot is going forward. Edge of the foot is pulling back. And we're engaging the quad. If you're having a hard time getting this hip to drop, take your left thumb into the crease, like wedge it in there and push down. Sometimes the body needs a cue, and I'm not there with you, so you need to give it a hands-on adjustment. Whew. Okay, guys, step it in. So let's take the chair over to the other side, and I want to show you something from this side as well. So we've got the chair left and our right leg going on a slight angle to the right. Okay, I'm going to put a little bend in the right knee and check the alignment of my hips. Left hip over left knee, right hip is dropping down. So the hands can come to the chair and create that length in the back, or we can come to the forearms, getting a little lower. So look at the leg that's on the floor. Sometimes I see stuff kind of like this, and that's also like, see how the foot doesn't line up with the knee? That's also gonna do some funky stuff in the hip. That was funky. I don't know how that came out. Bring your left foot in line with the left knee and kick down. Apply pressure. That's gonna help stabilize the hips. Okay, take that right thumb into the right hip crease and push down. Move the torso to the right. If you feel like, oh my gosh, this is hard to balance, I'm gonna fall over, you're probably doing it really right. It should feel like work. Okay, maybe you take the bend in the right knee and work engaging the quad muscle and lengthen your back. So the sensation of a back bend here. So kind of an overcorrection cueing to get us to the right spot, because I don't think anyone's going to be able to do a back bend in this position. Or maybe you're hypermobile and you can. Good, okay, let's step it in. An all-time love-hate is coming up, and we're not gonna switch the chair because we are going to be working the left leg and it's already where we need it. So we're really close to the chair, or you can have the yoga blocks in your hands. Either way works. Your hands are on the chair or the high yoga blocks. You'll step your right foot to the outside of the chair. So I'll show it quickly on the left. The right foot, knee over ankle. So we're high kneeling. You probably want to pad the left knee if it's not already. And I always move this left knee like an inch back. So I'm more on the top of the knee, or bottom of the thigh area than like smack dab on the knee. Just doesn't feel as good. We're doing quads, baby. So you're gonna hamstring curl that left heel in and grab the foot with the left hand. Push off the chair and go up. So even if you're advancing this one, this is not a forward bend ever. It's all about lifting. Drive your right foot, the foot on the floor, into the ground. Drop the right hip and lift the torso. Energetically pull your front foot and your back knee together. Right foot, left knee draw together. That creates the lock, the container, and then we lift out of it. Okay, if you were not able to get the foot, stay right there. We're not even gonna make a big loop, we're just gonna make a quick loop. You loop the right foot with the strap, you strap it around, you grab the edges of the strap with the left hand, and then we lift. Okay, so that's a nice, quick modification. Take a big breath in. Good, and then release. There's nothing like that. I'm just kidding, but no, honestly, that's how I feel. So move your chair or your blocks over to the other side. We've got the hands on the chair. We're stepping the left foot forward. So you get your knee over your heel. I'm gonna walk my right knee back just that 1 inch, hamstring curl it in, and grab it with the right hand. So on this side, you can get a better demo of what's going on in this hip. Like that last stretch, I don't want you to hike the hip, and that can happen a lot. So this hip crease needs to move down. So I'm pushing my left foot into the floor to help move the left hip down. Okay, then I'm gonna push off the chair and lift the torso up as the tailbone, the left hip, the left foot move to the ground. You can hold different places on the chair, no problem. Absolutely make adjustments as you need. You can even make this taller by putting the blocks on the chair. So something like this. So always make it work for you, and your body can really guide you. It's like, wait, I'm a little, I don't have enough height here. So just simply adjust. Okay, so the front foot and your back knee are pulling towards each other. We're using inner thigh strength. Let's take a big breath in and then gently release that back leg. Ooh, the quads, they really always get me. Okay, guys, so let's move the chair out of the way. You are either gonna take your yoga blocks or you're taking your pillows, a big stack for the next one. So I'm gonna do this splits, we're going into the splits on 2 flat stacked blocks like this. So the blocks I'm gonna place over to the left. So you can see my left leg first. Step your left leg, over the blocks and place your left glute on the blocks. Look at your back knee. Turn it in before you even go to straighten the front leg. So your inner thigh is rolling up, your outer thigh is rolling down. So you should feel a hip flexor stretch there. And then we're gonna walk the left foot forward. Now our goals are to getting the hips aligned. So probably have to move the left leg back in space and draw the right hip forward. Tuck the pelvis and lift really tall. So I'm in like a perfect position personally because I'm getting a big stretch, but I'm not in pain and it's not super uncomfortable. It's slightly uncomfortable, and that's kind of what a stretch is. So if you're not there, put more height underneath your legs or bring your back knee in closer so you're not as deep into the split. Okay, so if we have the legs straight, great, but what's really important, hips and that back knee pointing down, and then possibly we come forward on the hands and create that length in the spine. So you're into a nice deep split here. Awesome. Okay, so we're just going to take this left leg, soften the knee, and step it in, and then we'll move the yoga blocks to the right. Okay, so I'm padding the left knee for comfort. Each and every year I need more pads. And then we're gonna sit on the yoga blocks with the right hip. So now you're gonna get a better view of this leg. So we want the leg to be in a parallel neutral talus position. So top of the foot, knee, top of the thigh, face down. So think of turning the leg in. Then I'll straighten out through my front leg, and you can see that my pelvis wants to turn left. So I'm gonna draw my right hip back and my left hip forward, so both of those hip bones are straight on. Flex the front foot, pull up and engage the quad. Okay, so you can stay here, or you can take that position of coming forward. So everything we've learned, try to go for that length. Good, okay, we're gonna walk it up, put a little bend to that right knee, And then we're gonna step back into kneeling. Okay, guys, we are going to start to slow down a little bit and do some step laying down on our back with the blocks. Now, I just love supported back bends. These should be done all the time, in my opinion, not just because we should, but because it feels so good. So let's take this to the first setting, and then I'll show you ways to make it more intense. So the first thing, you can also do this completely flat on your back, everything I'm about to say. So if you're very tight, you're just gonna lay flat down on your back and maybe use a block or a pillow for your head. Otherwise, where we're gonna go is 2 blocks that are flat, short ways, horizontal, okay? So I'm gonna put my shoulder blades on the first block. It's gonna be on the shoulder blades and the bottom of it touches the bottom of the shoulder blades. The second block is for my head. If you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, take the other block underneath your head and bring it up higher. Maybe it comes all the way to the top setting. You can totally be here, okay? So you adjust the head block. So find a position here. Maybe you're laying completely flat on your back. Arms are gonna come to a nice big W. You can have a natural curve in your low spine, but draw your abs in so your stomach muscles are tight. So moving the pelvis is the joint action. Tightening your core is a muscular thing. So you don't have to change what your back looks like to draw the core in. Arms in goalpost, shoulders slide down. We're gonna inhale, reach overhead, big long line in the body, and then exhale, bend the elbows back to that goalpost shape. Inhale to reach, exhale to return. So you keep laying down. I'm gonna just show this straight on. I'm laying on the blocks and I'm reaching overhead to the wall behind me, and then I'm bending the elbows wide. Big breath in, deep breath out. Okay, so keep that going. You can advance by taking the second block to medium, so we're a little higher up. Big breath in, reach overhead, deep breath out. When you bend the arms into the goalpost shape, you want your elbow and your hand lining up rather than the elbow being lower. This will be less of a stretch, so push your elbow towards the ceiling when your arms are bent. Let's take 3 more. As you reach through the fingertips, keep space in the neck by drawing the inner shoulder down. Last 2. Okay, last one. Big stretch. And then reach the arms to the ceiling. Interlace your fingers. Flip your palms. Draw your shoulders down. Inhale, reach the arms all the way overhead and tighten your rib cage. Tighten your upper abs. And then exhale, lift the arms. Drive through the heel of the hands, engage your triceps, really straighten your arms, push your mid back into that yoga block, lengthen, exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, big stretch. Exhale, lift it up. We're gonna do 3 with the hands interlaced the other way. Drop your shoulders down. Actively use those upper back muscles and drive the heels of the hands out in opposition. Woo, that side's tighter on me. So just notice if you feel any discrepancies from right to left. Good, last one right here. Inhale, big breath in. Exhale to release. So you're gonna roll off your blocks to one side, move them out of the way. We don't need any equipment, and we're gonna lay flat on the back. So we're gonna take a twist to finish. Straighten your left leg, flex your foot, bring your right knee in and grab the outside of the right leg with the left hand. Bring the right knee across the body. Now when you look down, I want your right hip to stack over your left hip, rather than them being like at a horizontal or a diagonal line. So right over left, and then use your elbows on the floor. Push against the elbows, turn your chest to the right. Arch your back, stick your booty out, open your chest up. So you should feel your right glute. Maybe you got a couple cracks. I definitely did as we moved into this. And we're really working that right shoulder to the floor here. And then gently release through center. And let's do the other side. So straighten the right leg and flex the foot. The leg is turned on. Left knee is coming in. And grab the outside of the left leg with the right hand. Pull the bent knee across the body to the right, and then look at the hips. Oh, almost got the coffee. And stack them. Push your elbows into the floor and turn your chest away from your lower body. And then you can reach the arm out nice and long. And let's make that natural position in the low back. Booty out, chest open, and we twist. So this is a good position. You can see how my hip bones and it's in the back, but you can see how my sits bones are level rather than not being stacked or one is hiking up. Good. Okay, release it through center. Bring those knees into your chest and just squeeze yourself into a ball and just feeling all the good vibes and the energy and the release that we created and let go today. Let's take a really big deep breath in and then exhale, sigh it out. Okay, let's do one more of those and then we'll bring it up. Take a big breath in and exhale, let it go. Okay, rock it on up to a seat. Oh my goodness, you guys, I hope you feel freaking fabulous. I really do. This got me going on a great day, and I ultimately just really love teaching and sharing what I love with you. So I hope you enjoyed this stretch that helps you feel more energized, looser, and more aware of your body. Don't forget to hit subscribe and also join my new Pilates On Demand membership for exclusive content and videos, just more videos, longer videos, all sorts of workouts. You know how we do it here. And I am wearing Craze Yoga's tornado colored Butterlux fake leather leggings, and they're Butterlux. This is like their half zip shirt. I wouldn't really call it a sweatshirt, but I have been wearing Craze Yoga, and you guys know this, since day one. I mean, as far as affordability and quality, they nail it and very easy to get. So I will link them in the description. We'll give you a little sneak peek. I'm wearing an extra small in these leggings. These are the 25-inch. I'm not very tall, so this actually hits me perfect without being baggy. And then this is, you know, this would not, these are high-waisted, so if I was wearing like lower pants, this would definitely show my belly. But, you know, we're kind of in the fashion times of high-waisted, so for me, it covers my stomach. But again, I'm not that tall. This is the hibiscus purple. So take a little sneak peek of these goods. And super comfortable. And I mean, after doing all that stretching, I don't think I had to move the pants one time, which is pretty hard to say with leggings. So they definitely stay in place. Okay, you guys, well, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.